All right, we're back for episode 16 of the remote viewing series. And if you're new here, my name is Danae. I was born psychically blown open. If you are curious about knowing more about me, you can click the link in my bio. There's plenty of stuff on my website. Today, I just want to focus specifically on the remote viewing, the ability to peek into, probabilities, timelines, read energy. Everything is energy, so everything is readable. Everything is readable. No matter who you are, it's readable. So, I essentially want to remind you guys, when I go into these specific sessions, I go in blind. I literally just set the intention, show me what I need to see, take me where I need to go, so I can have the messages to give to the people. And I think it's time that humanity has people in their corner who have abilities, who have capabilities, especially to bring forward truth. I don't really feel like there's a lot of people in the corner of humanity. So that's my job. That's my job. All right, let's get going here. So I left you off with some of the religious stuff, really fascinating stuff. Every changeover, so we are now changing over, you guys. And I also want to talk about so every regime change, so to speak, I think it's every 2,000 years or something like that, a cycle ends. Like we just ended the whole Piscean age. Now we're in the Aquarian age, which is also the golden age. It's the golden age. And what did the Anunnaki do? Why did they come to Earth? To mine gold. And what does Trump keep saying? I'm going to bring in the golden age. We have a lot to talk about him. All right, let's get going. So, and also, what is the abbreviation on the elemental table of gold? It is AU. Why is gold AU? Why is gold AU on the elemental table? For Anunnaki? For Anu? Are you joking? Oh, God. Where is that book? I gotta get that book. I have a book that I want you guys to get. It is by R.A., letter R, letter A, Boulay. It is Flying Serpents and Dragons. Man's History and Reptilian Past, or something like that. Just look up R.A. Boulay. This man was a cryptologist. He worked for the government. After the war, his career was to decipher codes, collect information. Everything is in that book. Well, it's a good starter book. It's not super long, but it is a good starter on how you can, it's fully loaded with a lot of different things. Get that book. I think I'm also going to start a book club so we can start connecting more individually, like as a group who is interested. I think that would be fun. I'll keep you posted on that. But that book is loaded with a lot of really good stuff from all kinds of topics. But it's teaching you some of what I teach you with biblical stuff, dragon lineages, reptiles, Adam and Eve, religions, Nabu, all this stuff. There's so much. I think it's like this big. It's a really easy read. Get it. Please get it. It's really good. Okay, so I also wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about, there's this big shaming through religion, using your God-given right, whatever you interpret your God to be. I do not think that we just come from nothing. I'm not an atheist. I'm not a Satanist. I'm a deeply spiritual person, a deeply connected person. For me, it's source, the divine. I don't idealize things in spirituality in a sense, or glorify. I ground things in. Does that make sense? So just ground your stuff in so you're not floaty with it. I wonder if you guys can hear Murphy. You can hear him. Murph. Ellie. Mommy. Ellie. I'm going to do my best to make sure that I catch them. I know, I'm sorry to catch them when I kind of start to hear them, but it's always take your kid to work day here, so they're always snuggled on their nice little puppy beds. Okay, so there's this shaming through religion to not trust yourself, to deny your intuition, even your energy centers, your chakras, and baptizing, doing those. That's a ritual that shuts down your energy centers in the body. So I want to give you guys some food for thought here. You were literally born with these abilities, and also throughout time. Think about this, okay? Many, myself included, were punished for working with herbs, working with the earth, like all kinds of things, having special abilities, really advanced abilities. A lot of you were killed, tortured, shunned, imprisoned, all these things. When you have those really big traumas, you guys, that stamps the DNA. That creates a really strong fear that locks you down, like completely locks you down. And so that's also why, when a lot of people don't have that intuition sense or don't believe in it, oftentimes it's because they've been brutalized in another life somewhere in the timeline. So consider that as well. It was easier to obey, not go against the church, not go against the crown. There was all of these things that it was just easier to survive. Keep that in mind, because a lot of people are walking around with those kind of timeline triggers. And it's so interesting too, because when you get into religion, you believe a guy healed the sick, calmed storms, died for 3 days, came back to life, turned water into wine, walked on water, fed people with one fish, whatever that story was. Is that not some really witchy stuff? Is that not some really high magic? I just want you to, my intention to bring these to you is because religion really locks down your beliefs and really locks down your ability to, again, parking yourself in one camp. It really locks down the ability of receiving and understanding more information. That is that's high magic. That's like wizardry. And then you go to church and you say, drink my blood, eat my flesh. That is a ritual that is cannibalistic. But in the name of God, it's acceptable. Do you see how beliefs can fragment the way that you see things? I've always stressed to you, what are your beliefs? Because your beliefs can be your greatest successors, your greatest freedom makers, or they're going to be your biggest brick walls. What are your beliefs? Okay, let's keep moving. So in the Bible, depending on your awareness, it will depend how you receive the Bible. You guys, the Bible is so coded, and there is stuff in there. Even in Genesis, it talks about the genetic engineering, and it even says, was it Adam was created, or Adam was placed in the garden? He was placed, and Eve was created. And all out of God's image. Who was God? What God? These freaking little shenanigans, these little liars. Okay, so. Okay. And even the idea of sinning, you guys, I want to talk about this with you. We all come down in sin. Sin was a name of an Anunnaki. We have Sin City again, and then we have sin of the, sinning. You guys, we come down here to fuck up. I'm going to be really, really bluntly honest with you. We come down here to mess up. Earth is like a training ground, so to speak. It is, some people come here to learn how to say their please and thank yous, and some come here to get their PhDs, maybe 10 at a time. A lot of life lessons, a lot of mucking up, a lot of, wow, shouldn't have done that. But Earth is a school. Do not berate yourself for mistakes. Do not have shame. Do not be embarrassed. Do not have regrets. Your biggest fallings, rock bottoms, misuses of energy. Perhaps you've been doing this for a million lifetimes, and maybe this lifetime is the one that you just let that ship sail. And maybe you got there because you went through some really hard times. Life is not about idealism, sticking your head in the sand, pretending, shoving things under the rug, pretending things that are not there, the elephant in the room. You have to face your fear. You have to face your creations. That is part of why you reincarnate. And what you do comes back to you. No matter what anyone tells you, do not glorify and overcomplicate this topic. What you do eventually comes back to you. I have never had a reading, and I've talked to thousands and thousands of people. I have never had a reading with someone who didn't have some form of misuse and debasement in their soul history. I have never experienced that. So if you are carrying any shame, regret, confusion, throw it out. Throw it out. Religion loves to shame, because if it can put you in that victimhood and that shaming, it has you. You come here to learn. You come here to really work this stuff out. And some people will choose really difficult lifetimes just to create a larger toolkit for themselves for other lives. Do not have shame about anything that you've experienced. There is so much value and gold and diamonds, literally, in the experiences that you've created for yourself. Have compassion for yourself, have love for yourself, have, resiliency, but do not have shame. The idea of sinning is a joke. Delete it from your programming. It's keeping you stuck in time. Please, you have nothing to be ashamed of. Everyone has mistakes. Everyone has, shoulda, woulda, coulda. As long as you are learning and as long as you are evolving, that is the point. That is the point of the lessons. That is the point of, the falling shorts, which all of that is irrelevant. Everything is codes, new information. Forget good versus bad. It's codes. It's evolving. Knowledge is power. Experience is power. Change your language, change the way that you see these things so that you aren't so hard on yourself. So many of you are really hard on yourself. And trust me, I've been there. But going into these territories, that I want to take you in, you can't do that, because everyone in the reincarnational history and your soul history, you're going to meet versions of yourself in moments that you probably wish you wouldn't. But you being in the power seat in this time, and having the awareness that you do, you can help these versions of you become unstuck. Because all of these versions of you, especially the misuse of energy, they're affecting you. They can affect your decision making, they can affect your emotionality, they can affect your mental stability, they can affect your health issues, your body. We've never been taught this. I get so intense sometimes about it because it's no wonder why everyone is so confused. And this is not to be insulting. Trust me, I've had my days sleepy sleep, okay? Just surviving with the herd because it was easier. It was easier than being like this. But you're going to want these keys for the future, because all of this stuff is bubbling up, is coming alive. And if you haven't already, you're going to start remembering these other versions of self, other stories along your timeline, and you're going to want to know and have the maturity and the awareness to meet these versions of yourself so that you can unstick and really help them with clarity and awareness. I mean, just even in the last week, I've had a handful of new ones come to me, and whoa, this full moon did not mess around. It did not mess around. And you're always going to be given what you're prepared for. So do not have any fear, you guys. Eliminate the fear. This is so powerful. Do you know how powerful it is to do timeline healing? This is far superior than any occupation you would ever know of and think to be on earth. Truly. Like, I just want to affirm that for you. It's very powerful. Okay, so let's move on. So, ooh, goodness. All right, so we're going to start going into Trump, okay? If any of you have had a reading with me, there's been moments where I've had to say, listen, I can't go any further. I have to tell you this. They're not going to give me any more information, and they're like screaming at me. This has been the same. I've had many remote viewing sessions, and I know some of you have been following me along. I'm like, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it, but it keeps coming up, and it keeps coming. And now the information is coming to me in different ways, like really kind of not nagging, but like talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it. And this is where it's going to get weird. So you really need to keep an open mind, like a really open mind, okay? I've talked a lot about how there's a lot of people walking around. They are not who they say they are, whether they've been replaced, ET's running them, whatever. This has come up in several of my viewings. The original Trump was gone in 2013. I did not see what took him out, but the original Trump is no longer here. No longer here. I was taken to tunnels under his home. And something, originally when he kept coming to me in these remote viewings, it was skin suits, Donald skin suits. So something was embodying him. And truth be told, you guys, it is, I want to say draconian reptilian. I'll be honest with you, I don't know a ton about the draconian stuff. I only say that because it looked like a dragon. Like this thing was wide, and it was like some of the reptiles I see, they're really tall in stature, but they're not wide like a dragon. He was wide and very long tail. His tail, and it almost looked like there was two parts to it. I don't know. It was odd looking. I know this is weird AF, but just hang in there with me because it's not going away. I've talked about shoving things under the rug. I'm like, I don't know if I can say this yet, but I'm just going to trust at this point. But he is not human at all. And I think that there's a connection, whatever this is, it's either Anu or there's a connection to Anu because of what I've been told. There's an Anu connection. I just want to put that out there. He is not human at all. And I know there's a lot of people are really pro-Trump. I've never voted in my life. If you've ever seen my name on a registry, I have never voted in my life. I do not get into politics. It is just a charades. It's like a game. It's circusry. I don't get into politics. I have serious like trust issues with that kind of stuff because I just observe. I'm an observer. That's what I am. So yeah. So skin suits and tons of clones. You guys, tons of clones of him. That's when you're seeing all these articles come out like, why does he look so weird? But they don't last that long. Clones they don't always last that long. They can look funky. It's when you get into the cloning stuff, things get weird. So there was a movie, what is it, Multiplicity or something? Look at this it's an older movie, but this guy clones himself 4 or 6 times. And like the more clones he made, the more issues they kind of started to have. Look up that movie. It was kind of funny, but I mean, it tells you in that movie. So look it up, watch it. There was some other stuff that came up with Ivanka. That stuff I'm not going to release because I can't. I don't want anyone coming after me. That was pretty debased, some of the stuff I saw. So I'm not going to go into that. I also do want to say, you guys, with the Anunnaki too, the Anunnaki are incestual. So they have sex with each other. They've had children with each other. You know, there's some royal families and bloodlines that mesh. It's to not dilute the royal blood, whatever. That is a thing. They're incestual. The Anunnaki are very incestual. So I want to put that out there because humans are also mimicking the gods, and how like incest, even through pornography, all this stuff is like becoming a thing, which is so fucking gross. The Gross. So